Hello students, I am Navdeep Kaur, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Cultural Studies and Foreign Languages, Khalsa College Patiala. I am going to discuss with you life and works of William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was an outstanding English poet and dramatist. Shakespeare has been considered as a greatest English writer because of his deep insight into human psyche and his poetic genius. He has been regarded as the Bard of Avon. William Shakespeare belonged to Elizabethan age. He wrote his early works during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I in England. William Shakespeare, including the playwrights of this era, are considered as Elizabethan dramatists. Elizabethan age is also regarded as the golden age in the history of England. This period was marked by a great movement called Renaissance. Now let's talk about English Renaissance. That what is English Renaissance? The cultural and artistic movement flourished in England from early 16th century to early 17th century is referred to as English Renaissance. English Renaissance was marked by the progression and growth in the fields like arts, culture, religion, science, and various forms of literature, particularly drama. Shakespeare embraced Renaissance in various ways. Shakespearean plays focused on depicting human characters with great psychological complexities. Now, during Elizabethan age, there was tremendous development in almost all the literary genres. Elizabethan age witnessed swift and remarkable growth in drama. Elizabethan drama gained great popularity through the plays of university wits. Later on, the genre of drama touched immense heights in the hands of William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was a great English playwright. He was born on 23rd April 1564 in Stratford on Avon, Warwickshire, England. He was baptized on 26th April 1564 at Holy Trinity Church. His father's name was John Shakespeare. He was a prosperous tradesman of the town. His mother's name was Mary Shakespeare. Now, William Shakespeare's education. Though there is no actual record of Shakespeare attending the school, but most biographers claim that he was probably educated at Stratford Grammar School from the age of 7 to 13 years. He was taught there Latin and arithmetics in that school. Due to the financial misfortunes in the family, Shakespeare was taken from the grammar school where he was about 14 years old in order to help the family. William Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway in 1582 when he was 18 years old. Anne Hathaway was 8 years elder to Shakespeare. Shakespeare had three children, Susanna, and twins, Hamnet and Judith. Then in 1587, Shakespeare leaves his town and moves to London. The period from 1585 to 1592 is referred as Shakespeare's lost years by the biographers so far as the records are concerned. Till 1592, Shakespeare becomes a successful playwright and actor. He establishes himself in London. In 1594, his plays were also performed by Lord Chamberlain Theatre Company. King James I issues a royal patent to this company, which was later renamed on as the King's Men. Apart from being a successful actor, Shakespeare's contribution to English literature is immense. Shakespearean works have been classified under three categories. His plays are classified as tragedies, comedies, and historical plays. First, we'll talk about Shakespeare's tragic plays. Shakespearean tragedy is defined as the classification of drama which has a noble protagonist who is involved in unsuccessful conflict with circumstances. This kind of tragedy is a powerful tale of sufferings and misfortunes of the central protagonist who has a tragic flaw resulting in fatal conclusion. In Shakespearean tragedy, man is himself responsible for his own actions, which leads him to his fatal doom. Unlike the medieval conception of the tragedy, according to which fate plays an important role in tragic downfall of the central character. Now, these are characteristics of Shakespearean tragedy. First one is tragic hero. Unbalanced state of mind of the central character. Shakespearean tragedy also includes conflict and struggle. There is supernatural machinery in this type of tragedy. The main character he commits a fatal flaw. Towards the end of this kind of tragedy, there is triumph of moral order. The main character also goes through sufferings and misfortunes, which results in his catastrophic downfall. Catharsis is also a very important characteristic feature of Shakespearean tragedy. Now, 10 Shakespearean plays are classified as tragedies. Antony and Cleopatra, Coriolanus, Hamlet, Julius Caesar, King Lear, Macbeth, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, Timon of Athens, Titus Andronicus. Now, the next subcategory of Shakespearean plays is Shakespearean comedy. Shakespearean comedy refers to a light-hearted, humorous play that aims at giving pleasure and joy. Shakespearean comedy is usually a romantic comedy in which the scenes are replete with romantic background. In this type of comedy, the atmosphere is highly lyrical and full of imagination. Shakespearean comedy also involves the struggle and hardships faced by the characters, but they become successful in overcoming all the difficulties towards the end of this play. Now, these are the examples of Shakespearean comedies. All's Well That Ends Well, As You Like It, The Comedy of Errors, Love's Labour's Lost, Measure for Measure, The Merchant of Venice, The Merry Wives of Windsor, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Much Ado About Nothing, The Taming of the Shrew, The Tempest, Twelfth Night, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, and The Winter's Tale. Now, let's talk about the characteristics of Shakespearean comedies. In this kind of play, characters face lot of hardships in the beginning. There were disputes and misunderstandings between the characters, which is also followed by separation. Later on, reunification was there. There is an element of humor, fancy, and imagination is also there in Shakespearean comedy. It also involves complex plot structure. Pastoral element is there. Reconciliation towards the end of the play and happy ending. So these are the characteristics of Shakespearean comedies. Now, next type is Shakespearean historical plays. The historical plays of Shakespeare represents the long history of England, covering a period of about 350 years. Shakespeare's historical plays are based on the lives of historical figures, mainly English kings of the earlier centuries. His plays are based on the conflict between the families of York and Lancaster, known as the War of the Roses. Shakespeare's historical plays depict the ways of the society and also awakens the spirit of patriotism and national unity among the people. Shakespearean historical plays are, these are the names of some of the Shakespeare's historical plays. King John, Richard II, Henry IV Part 1, Henry IV Part 2, Henry V, Henry VI Part 1, Henry VI Part 2, Henry VI Part 3, Richard III, Henry VIII. Now, Shakespearean sonnets. William Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets. A sonnet is a poem consisting of 14 lines that has a specific rhythmic structure. Shakespearean sonnet mainly consists of three quatrains and a final couplet. The most common themes of Shakespearean sonnets are love, beauty, life, moral order, etc. The most predominant theme of almost all the Shakespearean works is order versus disorder. The major paradigm of Shakespeare's works is the clash between order and disorder. In view of the political and social conditions of Shakespearean times and in view of Shakespeare's Elizabethan sympathies, he has been read as an author who presented the theme of order versus disorder as the central theme of his works. In our postmodern times, Shakespearean plays can also be read as collisions of absolutism and feudalism, the disintegration of monarchy and the rising capitalist individualism, the defeat of absolutism and the triumph of humanism are also prophesied in his works. Shakespeare's universality. The most significant quality of the works of Shakespeare is his universal approach and his profound understanding of human nature and psyche. Ben Jonson has rightly said, Shakespeare was not of an age but of all times. Shakespeare's universality lies in the acceptance of life in its totality. Shakespeare has expressed human soul with intense emotion and broad humanity. Shakespeare's universal appeal is based on his ideology of triumph of the moral order. Shakespeare came back to Stratford between the years 1610 to 1612. He also bought the largest house in the town. His mother died in 1608, followed by the death of his father and his son. Shakespeare's heart broke down completely. He died on April 23rd, 1616, in Stratford on Avon, Warwickshire, England. So this is about Shakespeare's last years. Dryden has rightly said about this great playwright that Shakespeare was a man who, of all modern and perhaps ancient poets, had the largest and the most comprehensive soul. Thank you.